Mass psychogenic illness is often imagined as dramatic behavior, dancing in the streets, convulsions, or uncontrollable laughter. But the clinical pattern is more subtle. Mass psychogenic illness, or MPI, occurs when a group experiences stress it cannot articulate, within a culture that provides no acceptable outlet for that stress. When expression is blocked, behavior becomes the language of distress. MPI has a predictable architecture. It arises from a common belief system, not from a biological trigger. Rapid social transmission occurs through observation, imitation, and social cues. Physiological or behavioral symptoms manifest from cognitive or emotional contagion, and resistance to counter-evidence maintained by social reinforcement preserves the system. In dog culture, these dynamics are evident. People are expected to express affection and deference. The belief that dogs are harmless spreads through social networks. Emotional attachment produces tangible consequences, and any evidence that challenges the illusion is dismissed or punished. The symptoms of modern dog culture are not collapses or seizures, but distorted perception. Harm caused by dogs is minimized or denied. Aggression is reinterpreted as playfulness or protectiveness. Risk is transformed into companionship. The dog's true nature is obscured, and its behavior is interpreted through cultural narratives and emotional projections. Like all MPI, the collective misperception is functional. It stabilizes the group psychologically. MPI spreads through social and emotional reinforcement. Prescribed emotional responses are contagious. One must feel affection, perform care, or express empathy. Deviation triggers social policing. Dissent is pathologized, ridiculed, or attacked. Emotional contagion spreads through the group, aligning feelings and shaping a shared perception. This contagion is not optional, it is socially enforced. MPI persists because it solves a problem the group cannot confront directly. Historical examples illustrate the pattern. The dancing plague of 1518. Famine, disease, and social instability led hundreds to dance uncontrollably. The behavior expressed stress and despair in a culturally intelligible form. The payoff was temporary psychological release and shared acknowledgement of hardship. The Tanzanian laughter epidemic of 1962. Overwhelmed boarding school girls laughed uncontrollably under authoritarian discipline. Laughter functioned as a socially sanctioned outlet for rebellion and tension. The possessed nuns, 17th to 18th century Europe. Isolated convents with rigid control produced convulsions and claims of possession. This allowed young women to express frustration and internal conflict while remaining within socially recognized narratives. Across these examples, MPI provides a pressure relief mechanism. The community expresses distress, preserves social cohesion, and temporarily mitigates unmanageable stress. The behavior is not random. It is a solution, coded in the language of the culture. Modern Western society faces atomization, loneliness, and emotional instability. There is no collective symbolic framework to articulate these pressures. In this vacuum, dogs have become psychogenic instruments. They act as surrogates for lost community, outlets for feelings and desires that people cannot express directly, stabilizing emotional symbols, and collectively sanctioned objects of attachment. This is a mass psychogenic attachment, a symbolic solution to pressures the culture cannot address directly. It functions as a collective illusion, but one that shapes real behaviors, choices, and social interactions. When a culture depends on an illusion, truth-telling becomes socially destabilizing. Gustave Le Bon, writing in 1895, described a pattern that appears whenever a culture organizes itself around illusions. He wrote, "The masses have never thirsted after truth. They turn aside from evidence that is not to their taste, preferring to deify error if error seduce them. Whoever can supply them with illusions is easily their master. Whoever attempts to destroy their illusions is always their victim." This is not moral commentary. It is a description of structural dynamics. Critique of dog culture is treated not as information, but as a threat. Mockery, denunciation, and even explicit threats are predictable outcomes of exposing the stabilizing illusion. The pattern is ancient. Dancing plagues, laughing epidemics, possessed nuns, all were culturally intelligible ways to process otherwise inexpressible stress. The dog illusion is a modern iteration, a mass psychogenic mechanism that translates collective pressure into a socially sanctioned behavior. Every age produces its own symbolic behaviors to manage pressures that cannot be expressed directly. Some dance, some convulse, some meow, some laugh. This age has chosen the dog. Every culture produces illusions. Historical examples of mass psychogenic illness, dancing plagues, laughter epidemics, possessed nuns, lasted only as long as the pressures that produced them remained unresolved. Once circumstances shifted or the collective stress dissipated, the symptoms disappeared. The dog illusion is no different. It is a culturally sustained response to pressures that cannot be articulated, maintained by shared belief, emotional contagion, and symbolic necessity. One day, the conditions that uphold it will change, and the illusion will fade, just as all previous mass psychogenic constructs have. The future is pet-free.